The village of the silver apples. In the heart of the rolling hills of Inshallah, there was a village unlike any other. This village, small but prosperous, was known far and wide for its majestic silver apple tree. The tree stood tall in the center of the village square, its branches heavy with large glistening apple that shone like pure silver under the sun. No one knew how or when the tree had first grown, but the elders of the village believed it was a gift from the gods, a symbol of their favor. The apples were not ordinary, they were magical. Each silver apple, once eaten, brought blessing upon the one who consumed it. A single bite could cure illnesses, heal wounds, or, or bring good fortune. The villagers revered the tree, respecting its power and only harvesting a few apples each year, as the wise elders advised. The chief of the village, Ezeonwoko, was a man of great wisdom. He had always instructed the people to approach the tree with gratitude and humility, warning them that taking more than what is needed could invite disaster. The gods give, but they also take, Ezeonwoko said. His words were respected, and the villagers lived in peace, enjoying the prosperity the tree brought to them. But as the year passed, whispers of this magic spread beyond the hill of Inshallah. Traders and merchants from far off land began arriving in the village, offering gold, jewelry, and exotic goods in exchange for the silver apple. At first, the villagers declined, remembering the chief's warning, but soon the temptation of wealth began to gnaw at their hearts. One day, Mazi Okeke, a wealthy farmer known for his vast lands and earths, approached the chief with a proposition. Ezenwoko, he said, bowing respectfully. The village could become more rich and it could become the richest in all the land if we harvest more of the silver apples. Look at the traders who come to us offering riches beyond imagination. Why should we deny ourselves of such fortune? Ezenwoko frowned. Maazi Okeke, have you forgotten the teaching of our ancestors? The tree gives, but it also warns. Too much greed will anger the gods. But Maazi Okeke was not convinced. Chief, we've been blessed. Why not enjoy the full fruits of that blessing? With the wealth we could amass, we could build roads, schools, markets. We could become the envy of all other villages. The idea of such prosperity intrigued the villagers, and soon many of them joined Maziokike in urging the chief to allow them to harvest more apples. They grew restless, their eyes clouded with dreams of riches and power. Ezenwoku, though reluctant, felt the pressure of his people mounting and eventually giving, but not without a final warning. If we take more than what is needed, the gods will surely demand a price. The next morning, Maazi Okeke led a group of villagers to the silver apple tree. With baskets and sacks, they plucked the apples greedily, ignoring the whispers of the wind with through the branches, which seemed to carry a warning. The silver apples sparkled as they were piled high, and soon merchants came flooding into the village, exchanging vast riches for the magical fruit. At first, it seemed as if the village of Inshallah was entering a golden age. The villagers built grand homes, paved their dusty roads, and adorned themselves with fine clothes and jewelry. The wealth flowed like a river, and it seemed that the silver apple had an endless supply of apples to offer. But as the week passed, something strange began to happen. The apples, once shining and vibrant, started to lose their luster. They came dull, and the silver coated seemed to fade. Worse still, those who ate the apples found that instead of bringing blessings, the fruits they ate made them ill. What was once a cure for all ailments became a source of pain and suffering. One day, a girl named Adaura, who had taken a bite from one of the newly harvested apples, fell gravely ill. Her skin turned pale, her eyes sunken, and her once vibrant spirit dimmed like a flickering flame. The village healer tried all the remedies he knew, but nothing worked. Adara's condition worsened with every passing day. The villagers, now fearful, brought their sick to Ezenwoko's home, pleading help, but the chief, filled with sorrow, knew that the gods were punishing them for their greed. He called a village meeting at the foot of the silver apple tree, which now looked twisted and barren, its once beautiful branches gnawed and dry. The tree has given us all we needed, but in our greed, we've taken too much, Izinwoko said, his voice heavy with regret. The gods are angry, and now our blessings have turned into curses. We must find a way to appease them before it is too late. The villagers wept, realizing their folly, but Mazi Okike was not ready to accept defeat. This cannot be. We were only trying to prosper. Surely the gods will not punish us for wanting more, he shouted. But as he spoke, his body began to tremble. His hand, which he had plucked the most of the apples, started to swell, and a deep pain took hold of him. Mazi doubled over in agony, his cries echoing through the village. The elders of the village gathered and agreed that something must be done. After much discussion, Ezenwoko announced that the only way to save the village was to offer a great sacrifice to the gods. We must return to the way of humility. We must give back to the earth what we've taken in grief. The next day, the villagers came together, bringing their wealth, gold and jewels, and the fine goods they had amassed from the sale of the silver apples, and laid it at the foot of the silver apple tree. They prayed and begged for forgiveness, offering their riches in hopes for restoring balance. The winds howled and the skies darkened as if the gods were watching. For days, the village waited, but nothing happened. Despair began to settle over Inshallah, and the people feared that the gods would never forgive them. But on the seventh day, a miracle occurred. The silver apple tree, which had been barren and twisted, began to sprout new leaves. The branches stretched towards the sky, and the tree once again bore the bright silver apple that had first brought prosperity to the village. The villagers rejoiced, but this time they did not rush to pluck the apples. Ezenwoko addressed the people. We've been given a second chance, but let this be a lesson to us all. Greed can turn blessings into curses. The gods have shown mercy, but we must not forget the price of our folly. The village returned to its old ways, harvesting only a few apples each year and sharing the blessings among themselves with gratitude. The wealth of Inshallah was not in gold or silver, but in the harmony and unity of its people. The lesson of the silver apple tree was passed down through the generations, ensuring that no one would ever again let greed rule their hearts.